Once upon a time, my husband looked at me and said, Becky, I think we should homeschool. And I said, no, homeschoolers are weird, and I don't want to raise weird kids. Turned out that my kids were destined to be weird because they're my children. Homeschooling is such a wild adventure. I don't know how many people I have told over the years that by the time I finish homeschooling my 5th child, I'm going to understand how all this goes together. Homeschooling is almost like walking through the fog where you can only see the footsteps in front of you. And I just wanted to come and let you know that I made it. I'm at the end of the journey 25 years later, and I'm still smiling. I'm still breathing. Oh, there were days where things just happened or didn't, and it was bad. And I wanted to hide in the closet and eat Oreos. Maybe I did. I don't know. That would explain a couple of the extra pounds that I've put on in the last couple of years. But wow, homeschooling is a journey. And I want you to know that you're going to be okay. You're going to make it. You're not going to mess up your kids too bad. They're still going to be weird. They're still going to be wonderful. And you're going to look back and you're going to say, wow, that was the best decision that we could have made. Oh, it was hard, but it was the right kind of hard. Homeschool is not easy. It's challenging. And the world is kind of set against you. I get that. You may not even have a lot of outside support. You may not even have a lot of inside support. You may question yourself day after month after year, but stick to it. Keep it simple. Love your family, love your kids, focus on their heart. And when you get gray, or where you hide your gray more often, when you get to the end, you're going to look back and you're going to know that you did not waste this time raising your kids. When I created this one, homeschool is kind of like a journey where you start at the beginning and your kids are eating rocks. I mean, just enjoying the things on the road. And as you go on your homeschool journey, you're going to learn things and you're going to come in contact with amazing people along the way. Some years you'll be lonely and kind of isolated, because that's kind of what homeschooling can be, especially if you're an introvert. Yes, I'm an introvert. It can be kind of lonely and isolating, but you're going to collect tips and tricks from people along the way. You're going to collect people that you look at them and you see their kids or you see their family and you know they're real people, but you see the fruit of the fact that they've invested their heart and their soul and their lives into their families. And you're going to be able to pick their brain. Well, how did you do that? And you know what? They're going to tell you, because homeschoolers that are rocking it want you to rock it too. They want you to thrive. They want you to get a firm foundation under your feet. They really do. I haven't met a lot of really stinky homeschoolers. There's a lot of us that get really busy in our circle. You know, it used to be, I'm going to talk some traditional stuff just for a second. It's just the way that it is. It's just straightforward stuff. Just listen to me for a second. Way back in the day, when your grandmother was raising her family, she dedicated, most likely, her whole life to tending to the household, to tending to the children. Today, not only do we have to tend to the household and tend to the children, but we also need to run for president, organize the PTA, educate our kids, feed the dog, make sure the grass is cut, make sure that we have all this stuff to do. And it can be extremely overwhelming. And when you're in this step today and you can't see 12 steps ahead of you, you may be tempted to eat guilt for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, or shame or discouragement or frustration because maybe your 8-year-old doesn't read yet. That's okay. My youngest didn't read till he was 10. Maybe your baby's not walking at 10 months old. That's okay. 4 of my kids didn't walk until they were almost 2. Maybe your 2-year-old isn't potty trained. That's okay. 1 of my kids didn't potty train until they were almost 4 because they were having major medical issues. Maybe your kids, maybe you're a dutiful, like, I don't know, part of your community, and you think, I'm going to have my kids, or I need to have my kids, I'm required to have my kids take state standards. And maybe your kids finish the test and they come out and they say, I just made the most amazing patterns with all those bubbles on the test. It's like, okay, you might have missed the point about the standardized test, but I'm okay with that. Maybe your kids can't hold a pencil. Maybe every time they sit down to do math, their pencil breaks or they have to pee. Every single time. It's okay. You're going to get to the end like where I'm at, where suddenly you can see the last days of school in the future. And you're going to go, oh, it's almost over. Oh, it's almost over. It goes like this. So concentrate on the heart and the core of the character of your kids. I can't say that too many times, that it's so much more important that your kids are kind than being able to spell the word hypotenuse or even know what a hypotenuse is. It's so much more important that they're kind. There's a book that I'm listening to right now called Deep Kindness. I somehow stumbled on it when we were away on like a weekend as a family. I don't even know how I found it. But the idea in it is that, you've got your confetti kindness and your random acts of kindness and how important they are. But what we really need is deep kindness, the kind that costs us, right? So by the time our kids leave the house, are they truly kind? Truly kind. That's worth all of the effort that we put into homeschool. Are they expert help seekers? Here's a thought. It doesn't matter what you teach your kids. It doesn't matter what book you use, what curriculum you follow, what standards you follow, what kinds of essays they write, what kinds of science experiments that they do. None of that truly matters. We live in 2022 at this moment. And everything that you want to know is at your fingertips. You can find out anything within a few minutes almost. If it's really hard to find, it might take you an hour. So what does that mean? It means that it's not what our kids learn that matters. It's how they learn that matters. Are they open? Are they teachable? Do they know how to identify something that they don't understand and then to dig in and to find out the answers? Do they persevere? Do they have grit? Are they responsible? Are they diligent? One of the biggest lessons that I am so thankful for, this lesson, and I don't even know where it came from. It's a phrase that I've said thousands of times now. And that's that the goal for my older children is that they become expert help seekers. It has its origins in that whole stereotypical thing that men don't ask for directions and men don't read the instruction manuals. You should see what happens when things that need to be assembled come into the sailor household. I'm looking for the manual and the boys are all, I can figure it out. So I started saying, your goal is to be an expert help seeker. You may not know something, but someone out there does. So can you identify where the help is found? In college, where the kids are at right now, I remind them, I'm on your list of people there to help you, but I'm no longer on the top of the list academically. I'm willing to help you, but I'm not the best person to help you with calculus or chemistry or whatever the things that they're doing. So are your kids expert help seekers? Likely not, likely it's a skill that they need to exercise and build over the course of their childhood. So diligence, discipline, grit, asking for help, being willing to go last, being willing to serve, being the first one to show up and the last one to leave. These are the types of things that at the end of our homeschool career, we will look back and we'll watch our kids, you know, go on into the world, and we'll be like, yes, we did it. We raised and released amazing people into the wild. This world needs us to know the difference between page 92 of a math book and treating people with kindness. Not understanding how to do something and looking for the answer so that we can get it right, versus really leaning into something so that we comprehend it and that we can see past the lesson to find the nugget of gold. One of my kids is in a biology class right now, and this is the second or third time that they've done group projects, and his groups have not been diligent. They don't do their work. The worst one was he was sick with COVID with 103 fever in bed, and his group mates were nowhere to be found. They wouldn't do the work. They didn't. And he pressed through with a fever and made sure that that thing got done, and he was communicating. And we talked about this later many times, that it wasn't the project that was the goal. It wasn't the project that was the lesson. The life lesson is that sometimes you're going to be paired with people that are challenging. You're going to be finding yourself working on a group project, and not everybody's pulling their weight. That's just how life is. So what are you going to do about it when people aren't communicating, when they're not pulling their weight, when they're not being a part of the team? Are you just going to sit on the sidelines and complain, or are you going to come up with a solution? See, as homeschoolers in the year 2022 and beyond, we need to recognize that information is at our kids' fingertips, and they truly can learn anything right from YouTube, right from Google, right from asking people around. They can truly learn anything, but it's how they learn that is so important, that they know to persevere, that they know to press through, that they know to dig deeper, and that they're so used to and trained and inspired to take a spark of curiosity and to chase it, that anytime they need to learn something, they don't look at the struggle. They just start digging. They're just like, oh my goodness, I need to find out more. And they use those devices for good. You know, they're not just doing whatever the thing is that's wasting their brain power, but they're actually digging deep into whatever it is that they're passionate about. And they're finding ways to tap into subjects in multiple arenas. Homeschool is it's such an amazing journey. I want you to know that you've chosen the not easy way. Robert crossed two roads diverged in yellow wood, and I took the one less traveled. I love that. We're going through the woods. We're following the little game trail through the woods. There's marks on the path. People have gone before you and survived. You will survive too. You're going to get beat up by the bushes sometimes. Sometimes something's going to startle you because it's going to be like, woo, right in the bushes. That's homeschool. It's wild, but it's an amazing journey. Oh my gosh, embrace it. Don't get tripped up by the stuff you got to do, by the things they got to learn. No, my goodness gracious, fall in love with learning with your kids. Find things that you're passionate about. Show them what it looks like to ask questions. Show them how to persevere when life is tough, because it is. Oh my gosh, it's hard for all of us. It's okay. You're going to make it. I'm so excited for you in this journey. My journey started with, I'm not going to homeschool because I don't want to raise weirdos. I raised weirdos anyway. They're amazing. And my husband is brilliant because what he said to me way back in the beginning, because I really didn't want to homeschool. Homeschoolers are weird. Boy, aren't we ever. And I didn't want to be in that group. Guys, this is not the club that I had decided I was going to be a part of. I wanted to be in the cool mom club, not the weird mom club. Okay, sorry. You're there too. Weird mom club. Homeschoolers, we do things our own way. He said, Bekki, try it for a full year, just a full year. And if at the end of that year you hate it, or you think that the kids aren't learning, or we decide it's not a good fit, we'll do something else. And I said, deal. I think it was day one where I got to watch one of my kids like learn something. And I was like, if he was in a classroom, I would not have seen that. Another kid, when he finally learned to read, we were reading a book, and the book was, it was probably, I don't remember the book, but I think it was the book, I Love You Forever. I could never read that book without crying. But whenever he read the word love or heard the word love, we would read, I love you. He'd look at me, and then he'd lean in and he'd kiss me on the cheek. And then we'd go back to reading. I love you for, and he'd lean in and he'd kiss me. I have so many amazing, precious memories of time with my kids because I allowed life to slow down around me. I pulled out of things that made my life too busy, focused in on raising up our kids with my husband. There were a lot of times that I was lonely, a lot of times that I was lonely because I was so busy dealing with the house and raising the kids and homeschool that I didn't have time to volunteer to do the thing or to meet the gal or to go do coffee. And we made choices of not doing some things. Like having our hair done. I don't get my hair done anymore. I don't regret any of it. I don't regret any of it. There were so many days that I cried. Oh my gosh, the ugly tears. So many days I butted heads with my kids, especially at 12. Hoofed, especially at 12. Oh, they were all lucky to survive 12. But I don't regret it. I loved every almost minute of it. All the years of discovering and delighting and reading and exploring, trying to find ways to really press in and focus on the character issues as they came up, being creative and not just being a page turner in a curriculum of any sort, but trying to find ways to lean into what the kids were good at and what they were passionate about, and then wrapping academic benchmarks and standards into what we were doing so that they were learning, but in a way that they got it. Like when Stephen, my youngest, we were doing biology, and I realized that we didn't do stuff the way that people might approve of. So I had a big old biology book, and I told the kids, I want you to do a survey of biology. I know that if you were in a traditional classroom, you would memorize all of the vocabulary and write it out and draw diagrams. What I'm looking for is for you to get a survey of biology. And then if you decide that you love this stuff, you'll take classes in college and you'll memorize all this stuff later, surrounded by other people that love this subject. My job is to expose it to you at this point. And so he was the second or third kid that I did this with. And when we hit the subject of fungus, his eyes rolled, and I lost him just with the turn of the page. And I looked at him and I went, I shut the book and I set it aside and I said, let's just go for a walk. And so we went for a walk and we hung out and I thought about it. I'm like, I can't lose him. I at least need the brush stroke to happen with fungus, even though I think whatever, fungus. Okay, fungus, mushrooms. He's a photographer. Okay, I'll go. Okay. So the next day, I woke him up early. It was misty. I said, hey, buddy, if I gave you my phone, would you go on a walk with me? Let's go hunt for mushrooms. And he's like, okay. So we went and he hunted for mushrooms with me and took some amazing photographs of mushrooms. And the next day he asked me if we could do it again. And then the next day again. For 2 weeks, we got up early and we went out and we hunted for mushrooms, because mushrooms pop through the ground right as they die, right? It's their end of life stage. So every day there were new mushrooms out there, and he would get down on the ground and he would catch the light and the dew. And after about 2 weeks, I'm walking ahead. He's about, I don't know, 40 feet behind me, because he was laying down taking pictures of this one group of mushrooms. And he runs on his toes. He comes running up to me. He goes, he goes, I thought fungus was going to be like boring, but this stuff's really cool. Aha. I said, let's go back home. And then I grabbed the book and then we did the brush stroke of fungus, and he loved it. Every single bit of it. He loved it. He even put together like a group of, he's made stuff that he could sell. Like he made worksheets and photograph packages, and he learned all about this stuff because it wasn't about the book. It was about being delighted in learning. And it was so cool. So anyway, that's my thought for you today. I have a couple things for you down wherever the descriptions are. I would love to be able to share a PDF copy of the first book that I wrote, and just in hopes that you would be able to learn to homeschool from the inside out, to focus on the heart and the character of your kids over the importance of learning the academics. They do need to learn to read. They do need to learn to write. They do need to know their fundamental math things, the foundations of math. They need those things, but not at the expense of their heart and their character, and not at the expense of you loving hanging out with your kids. Because see, here's the thing. You can't fake joy. If you don't like your kids, they know it, and they don't like you back. They're like, if she don't like me, I'm not going to like her. Hang out with your kids. The best homeschool year that I had was with my youngest son. Well, I've enjoyed all the homeschool years, but my favorite was the year that I recognized that I had just him at home. The other kids were in college or gone, and it was before COVID, and it was just Stephen and I. And I shoved homeschool aside because I wasn't as close to him as I wanted to be. And I thought, you know what? This is my chance to really lean into my relationship with my youngest son. And it was a gift, because what we did is we started every day with a walk. We'd go for a 1 to 2 hour walk. Where we live, you have something different. But where we live, within 2 miles, we can touch the ocean. There's a little inlet of water. So we would go on a treasure walk every day, rain or shine. We would walk down to the water, spend a few minutes looking on the shore. We became fascinated looking for precious gemstones and agates and things. Never found them, but we were looking. So we'd go on a treasure hunt, and then we'd come back home. We'd stomp through puddles. We'd stomp through puddles. We found a watercolor book, and we spent time learning to watercolor together. We'd go to the library and we'd pull books and we'd read, and we just enjoyed each other. And I would look at his I'd look at the stuff academically that he was supposed to do, and we would bring it on the road. Meaning, if he was going to learn something in grammar, I would study it or write notes and put it in my pocket. And I would tell him at some point on the walk, we're going to not pause, but we're going to talk school stuff as we go. And I'd always wait until we were both relaxed, and then we'd talk about things conversationally. And it was beautiful, this pocket of time with this pre-teenager. And after a long time of doing that, that's the day that he said, don't laugh, but I know what I want to do when I grow up. And I'm like, why would I laugh? And he goes, just don't laugh. I go, I won't laugh. I go, what do you want to do? And he said, I want to be a cardiothoracic surgeon. I think he was 14. And I went, wow. We had been watching the show New Amsterdam. And so there's a cardiothoracic surgeon on that show. And I said, is it because of that show? He's like, no. He goes, I'm fascinated. And I remember learning from Carrie Beck, another homeschool blogger. She said, when your kids get older and they want to do something or they have a challenge, listen and then ask them, well, how can I help you get there? And so I can tell you exactly where I was on the road. And he said, cardiothoracic surgeon. And I said, how can I help you get there? What do you need to do? And then I was quiet. And then he proceeded to tell me exactly what it was. So much so that I recorded it. Like I said, can I record this? Because when you get home, you can type out everything that you come up with on the road. He's like, yeah, let's do that. So I turned the phone around so you can just see our feet. And I recorded him talk about doing more math and studying medical schools and how to survive, all this stuff. He just dumped and brain dumped what he wanted to do. And so when we got home, I had him take that and kind of formulate a plan. Then I pushed his science curriculum aside and I said, dude, this is what you want to do. So let's lean into it. Let's have you do a deep dive of the cardiovascular system. I had also found, my husband actually had found a video that showed some of the things that you can do with an iPad. And I looked at my son and I said, I'm not buying you an iPad, but I want you to watch this guy take notes on an iPad so that you can get an idea of how you can bring your notes to life. I want you to study how to learn. He goes, okay. And sure enough, beautiful notes on the cardiovascular system. And so anyway, as this favorite year of mine with my youngest son was all about slowing down, pushing traditional curriculum aside, really listening to what was making his heart beat faster. You know, that it's a critical age, that those early teenage years, they've got all these ideas and things in their head. And when they're pressured and burdened by all this stuff that they have to get done, they don't have time to do the daydreaming that is necessary for them to develop an idea of what it is that they want to do. And if we don't slow down enough to actually hear them, then we can't lean into what they want to do and start to feed them other things so that not only are they heading towards their goals, but they're developing their academic skill set. So important. These are the things that I wish way back in the beginning that somebody had pulled me aside and told me things like this, right? That the heart and the character, the identifying passions in your kids, and then finding ways to make space for those things. There's a young kid that my son, one of my kids, is going to college with, and he was sharing, you know, it's so sad because he's at that place where he has all these things that he wants to do, but everything that he's doing in school is not relevant. And it's depressing and paralyzing to this kid, and he doesn't know how to help him. And so we're coming alongside and trying to help him with ideas of how he can come alongside his friend. But simultaneously, I'm so thankful for the freedom of homeschool that allows us to truly just push stuff aside if necessary. Weird comment coming through my phone. Push things aside in order to make space for things that are important. Relationships. Don't neglect your relationships with your kids. There's a homeschool mom that I know that she's extremely vocal about the fact that she doesn't like her son. And he knows it. She's like, I don't know how to deal with him. I was raised around girls and all this stuff. And I'm like, nothing else on your plate is more important than building relationships with your children. Or you can't always be their friend. You can't. And I love it. I told my son today, because he has that Olympic rowing camp. He leaves soon. And he's got finals this week. And I said, I'm going to be all up in your business. I'm watching you. If you're doing anything that's not on your list, I'm going to be right there to catch you. And so I keep sneaking and looking through the banister because I'm trying to catch him not doing the right thing. Because I want to confiscate his phone. I think that would be a good life lesson. He just got a phone specifically for camp. I want to take it away so bad. So I'm watching. I don't need to be his friend. I just don't. He's still too young to be for us to be bosom buddies. But we have to build relationships with our kids. We have to hear them. We can't have our noses in our devices and being so busy with our own agenda and getting all the little check boxes done in our homeschool plan that we miss it. We miss the fact that, oh, she's a writer. She wants to write a book. I better push aside other things and give her time so that she can write a book. Oh, he's a musician. I better let him have time to practice and give him the resources that he needs to develop his musical skill. Oh, he's a historian. Maybe I need to push something aside and let him dig deeper into history things or writing or science or cooking or art or auto mechanics or horseback riding or gardening or whatever your kids are into. It's so important that we see our kids and we watch them develop and we give them resources that will help them develop and grow. Mama, you're gonna make it, I promise. But you will die if you try to just do all the things that everybody else tells you that you need to do. Lean into loving your family. Lean into identifying things that your kids are passionate about. Find ways to build your relationship with them as you give them access to those things, whatever that means for you. And I wish I could, there's no checklist, right? Because your family is completely and totally different than mine. But I want you to know it's worth it. It's worth it. Even on the days where the kids almost hang the dog. Even on the days when your kids that are way too old to be biting are biting each other. Even on the days where the kids come flying into the house fighting over blackberries. Even on the days where you ask them to do something and they give you those eyes that are not allowed in your house, but they brought them anyway. And then you look in the mirror and you're like, oh, well, I guess I taught them that. I better fix that. Even on the days when maybe you and your spouse aren't getting along very well. Even on the days where the money and the bills don't line up properly. Even on the days where all the other homeschool moms seem to be like having time to shower and teach on the same day. Like, how is that possible? Like, even on the days when you just wish that the school bus would stop in front of your house so that you could put your kids on it. It's worth it. Every step of the way, it's worth it. And someday you'll be like me at the end of the journey, and you'll realize that these are truly amazingly blessed times in our life. Oh, it's overwhelming because you have to step over the laundry and trip on the dog in order to explain the math problem. But it's worth it. Don't quit. Grab a copy of my book. I would love to bless you with that. I would love to infuse a little bit of what it's like to really homeschool from the inside out, to focus on character of your kids and to know that they're not going to miss anything. They're not going to be behind, because you can't be behind in homeschool. You just are where you are. Does that make sense? You've got this. And I'm so excited for you. And if you need anything, if you're looking for anything, I may not have the answers for you, but I've been doing a long time. And so please ask, because I probably know somebody that does have the answers. So before I close, let me just see if there's anybody. Okay, so I just wanted to make sure there weren't any questions. But have a wonderful day. Set the homeschool stuff aside. Make sure you have your master homeschool goals just rock solid. Make sure that you know what your homeschool goals are. Invest into the relationships of the people that you live with. People are always first. People are always first. Put the relationship first. If an attitude raises its ugly head, push the school aside and deal with the attitude. Be creative. My kids have done planks, wall sits, suicides, push-ups, cleaning toilets, whatever they needed to do, they did it, because attitude is everything. Character is everything. And now at the end of the journey, you see the fruit of it. I mean, you might look at my kids and you might say, wow, she's so lucky. Her kids are so gray. Her hair is really gray because she and her husband put a lot of time and effort into training those boys. A lot. And it was worth it. And I would do it again and again and again and again. But I might have made it easier on myself if I had learned these things from the beginning. So anyway, embrace the journey. You've got this. You are extremely privileged and blessed to be able to not only educate your kids, but to love them at the same time. So show them what it means. Give yourself some grace. No, you don't have to shower and teach on the same day. I certainly didn't, but it's all worth it. You're going to make it, get to the end, and then make sure that you have a trail of experiences and memories that they're like stepping stones. Anytime that you have something really great that happens, make sure that you bookmark it in some way. Write about it in your journal, take pictures of it. You're going to want to look back on it later. And you're definitely going to want to breathe life to and over a young homeschooler, because you too someday will find yourself in my position where you're the older homeschooler teaching the younger homeschoolers that it's going to be okay. And so collect your stories because they're precious. Hug your kids. Have a great day. And I will talk to you later.